It's no surprise that Pokemon 151 has been the biggest set in the Scarlet and Violet era. But after recently opening a reprinted version of Pokemon 151, I asked myself, is it even worth it to rip to try to chase some of these big hitter cards? In my booster box opening, I pulled the Mewtwo, super beautiful. Puts Mewtwo in that Batman perspective, overlooking the city, looking super sinister and up to no good. This was my chase card when the whole set was being previewed. I loved it. I would soon find out that it would be in English, a UPC promo, which I believe completely hurt the Scarlet and Violet Pokemon 151, which then went on to have the Mew in that UPC as well, and the gold metal card. It was a very questionable decision by Pokemon. So in today's video, I have a few examples and just a little bit of back and forth thoughts of if it is worth opening up today. We all know that the prices of these booster boxes are slowly climbing up once again after that reprint. I was buying them at the $55, $60 mark, which seemed like these deals just didn't last too long. And will we see another reprint of Pokemon 151 in Japanese? We will have to wait and find out. So let's get into my first pick on today's video. So the first card we're going to look at in today's video is the Mew. Of course, we know that it came in the UPC in English, but if this is your chase card and you didn't even look at the UPCs, you can pick this one up at around $58. PSA 10 goes for about that $100 mark, which is so crazy that it seems like the Japanese boom of 2 years ago was just yesterday, and now we've seen prices completely retrace and go back to what they were previous to the Sword and Shield era, which I absolutely love. And this is a great card if you're not in English and you're in Japanese and you just want to pick this one up. You cannot go wrong. For our next pick, I had to throw a Master Ball, of course. That is one of the most unique parts about Pokemon 151. And my favorite chunky little dragon, Dragonite, one of the best Pokemon of all time. Top 10 Pokemon of all time, maybe? But you could pick up this Master Ball for $43. Pretty great deal if you're asking me. I know that these things have definitely, they've seen their fair share of volatility, but it hasn't really broke that $50 mark, and a PSA 10 is going for around that $95 mark, just like the Mew. So we're already, Mew is definitely that top chase card, one of the top 5 chase cards in this set. And I would argue that maybe Dragonite is one of the top 5 Master Balls cards in this set as well. And we're really looking at sub $50 mark. We know that we get one Master Ball, just one, per booster box, and we get a secret rare and 3 art rares, I believe, and 3 EX cards. So if you just add it all up, you're paying $100 for, or $80 for a Pokemon 151 booster box at the time of recording. And if you say pull perfectly, you pull the Dragonite and you pull the Mew, yeah, you're gonna get your money's worth, but we all know that is not the case. I had to throw a very underrated card, in my personal opinion, on today's list, and that is the Giovani and Persian card. This absolutely stunning. If you have this card in person, you know the beauty of this card. The saturation is amazing. Just the whole scene is top tier in my personal opinion. And judging from the charts, we've seen definitely a rise in the decline of this card. Ungraded is $12. $12 is a pretty average price for art rares. It's a beautiful card, don't get me wrong, but as we see more cards on today's list, we're gonna put two and two together that these art rares are sub $20. Most of them are even sub $10, so this one just breaks that $10 threshold. And PSA 10, $44. If you have the cash, I would recommend just getting this in a PSA 10. I know this also, again, it's not an investment channel, but if I don't know why you just wouldn't get it in a PSA 10 if ungraded is the $12 mark. That's just me. That's my personal opinion. I'd love to hear your guys' comments in the comment section down below. And of course, I had to throw the mascot, the Pokemon mascot, Pikachu. So I also wanted to throw this card on as well because a lot of these Pokemon investors, a lot of these Poke YouTubers are talking about Surging Sparks having this Pikachu tax, that people are just gonna want it because it's a Pikachu card and X, Y, and Z. Well, I'm here to tell you that that may not be the case. Sure, Pikachu is a very loved Pokemon, probably the most loved Pokemon and most famous, obviously, in the Pokemon universe, but this is the perfect example of how a card can be so hyped up. I remember people were thinking that this card was it. This card was going to be the number one. It was going to be a giant chase card, and now we are sitting at $5, ladies and gentlemen, ungraded. And this is not an easy card to pull. I've opened my fair share of Pokemon 151. Never pulled this card. I think it's super underrated, very, very affordable, obviously. But this is just the theming of this video, of today's video, is that a lot of these cards are just so simple to pick up on an eBay or on a secondhand market, or even probably your LGS has them for dirt cheap. So don't buy into the news of having and holding a lot of these, you know, staple Pokemon to come with a price tag of the past. I think that's further from the truth. So this next card is the card that sparked me to make today's video, or at least have the idea of today's video, and that is the Mewtwo. So like I stated earlier in this video, this was my chase card. This was the card that I wanted so bad that I was like, I will pay anything. I thought this was going to be a $150 card, $100 card. Obviously, pre-release is super crazy. I never advise you guys to purchase these pre-release cards, but it has been a while since I looked up these prices in Japanese. So again, like I said, I opened the booster box and pulled the Mewtwo, and I was very, very stoked. I was like, wow, this is probably like a $30, maybe the $50 card. Go to price charting and drum roll please, but $4 ungraded. If you want to get a PSA 10, it is $30, which is just criminal for such a beautiful art. Does this card being in the English UPC hurt it? I'm sure it does. I'm sure someone can make a fair case for that. But this card is so beautiful, so amazing. I think it looks better in Japanese. I have them both. I put them side by side. At the end of this video, I highly recommend for you guys, just go pick up a copy on eBay for sub $5. This is just a perfect binder card, and I highly recommend that you guys have both to put side by side and just compare and see. Maybe you like saturation more on the Japanese compared to the English counterpart. But again, this got my engine, my wheel thinking up top in my head, thinking, wow, is Pokemon 151 even worth opening? Is it worthless? Why are people big upping this set, saying that it's like the next major investment, is an easy play for the next 5 to 10 years, but these singles hold almost no value right off the gate? So that is very concerning. Also, again, if Pokemon decides to reprint this set, and we know Pokemon Japan can do whatever they want, and they've proved to do whatever they want with Paradigm Trigger and Lost Abyss, like I stated in my last video. So this one is a huge toss-up for me. This whole set is a huge toss-up to me. But again, I would love to hear what you guys have to say. I know some of you guys are going to feel very strongly about it, but I think I have some good points to make as well. And for the last card on today's list, you already know what it is. I had to throw the big guy. We had to throw Charizard on. So right now, price charting, $80. I know in English it's probably like 110, 120, so you're saving yourself about $40. PSA 10 though, 131. I think if you just want the art and you want it in a graded slab, if you're a graded collector, it's a no-brainer. Just go pick up every single card I named on today's list in a PSA 10. If you want to save yourself, you know, 10, 15 bucks, just grab it in a PSA 9. But I get it. Most people want 10s, just grab the 10, very affordable. Again, if you purchase this $100 booster box and say you pull perfectly, you get this Charizard, the Golden Child, at 80 bucks. You might as well just try to purchase this Charizard at the $80 mark and save yourself the headache. And a lot of these cards that I named on today's list, you could purchase 2-3 of them in a PSA graded slab and pretty much be floating right around the booster box. So it is something to think about. Pokemon 151 has definitely been the most exciting and most hyped, maybe even overhyped set. But now I'm going to turn it to you guys. What are your thoughts on this set? What are your thoughts if you're an investor and or collector? Let me know that or anything in the comment section down below. Once again, if you like videos like this, I'm going to link another one right around here.